Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
That's Noticer Band. That is not AI. That is an actual band that did that remake. You can find them on Instagram at Noticer Band. Follow me while you're there. I'm at the Stew Peters. And if you're over there, make sure that you DM Noticer Band and let them know that we need some more music. We want to make the Noticer Band basically the official band of the Stew Peters Network. We're going to go on a tour. I want to go on tour with the Noticer Band. We can have big events. You know, we could go out to John Bray's place. He has a huge compound in Oklahoma. We could have a huge event at John Bray's place. If anybody else out there has a big compound, maybe we could go to Mexico, actually. Speaking of compounds, Jeff Berwick is with us. He's our featured guest of the day. He has a whole ranch in Mexico and a villa where I was introduced to the Tesla machine. I told you about that at Anarchapulco. He's the founder of Anarchapulco and also Dollar Vigilante. Well, basically for his entire adult life, Jeff has been on to the tribe, and he has been talking about the satanic pedivores, the baby-eating, satanic, baby-raping pedophiles that control the levers of power in institutions and in governments all throughout the West. And he's got kind of a different perspective on this war because none of this is hitting him by surprise, of course. He joins us now. Jeff, thanks a lot for being here. So, I mean, you have anticipated all of this.
Well, I should say, Stu, I haven't for my whole entire adult life had this figured out. In fact, for my early adult life during 9/11, I actually thought it was, I know it sounds crazy. I feel so stupid now. I thought it was a guy on a Gallus machine in a cave in Afghanistan and some guys with box cutters. But after that, I started looking into it. And then after a couple of years, I figured that out. And I've actually just gone down every rabbit hole ever since. And when you mentioned I've been onto the tribe for a long time, that actually hasn't been that long since I've been on to the tribe in Israel, which I call Israel now, obviously. It was actually October 7th that really woke me up to that. So I had not looked deeply into the Israel stuff too much until 2 years ago when they said, and I knew this was obviously fake, that some guys on paragliders came in and blew up about 300 cars and killed everybody with machine guns, and like the cars were like decimated, like they've been hit by, I don't know, like Apache helicopters, which is what actually happened, which was the IDF, and it was actually all a false flag as we know now. So yeah, I haven't actually, like I've been onto this actually before that, when I started figuring out the financial system and the money system, the central banks. So that's actually what got me started. I read the book The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin in around 2001, right after the crash, because my internet company collapsed and I was wondering what was going on. So I figured that part out, and I've actually just gone down every rabbit hole since. To the point where a lot of people now know, and I've known this for at least a few years. I actually knew about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff at least probably a decade ago. A lot of us alternative media people were all talking about it quite a long time ago. I even got on Epstein's island right after they said he was dead, which there's no evidence of. Actually, there's lots of evidence. They moved him out of the jail the night before. But I actually went and tried to check it out for myself because you can't trust anything that anyone's telling us. So a couple, I don't know, 5.
Wait a minute, you went to Epstein Island?
Yeah, but I wasn't invited. I broke in and tried to expose what was happening there.
I wasn't invited. I'm not in the files or anything, but yeah, I did take a trip there. So you took an unguided tour of Epstein Island?
Yeah, we broke into the island, basically. We tried to video as much as we could before we were chased off by security. That's actually all online if you want to go look it up. You could look up like We Are Change, Epstein's Island, and you can see that. That was pre-COVID, so a long time ago. But yeah, so I've been looking into all this stuff for a long time, and now it's actually a lot of people are starting to wake up to what's actually going on, and that is...
Yeah, I mean, it was October 7th for you. It was the USS Liberty survivors for me. But, you know, since October 7th, there has been a lot of behavior that I suppose you could attribute to this rise in anti-Semitism, whatever that is, where there has been this explosive trajectory in conflict, in combat, in explosions, in Project Esther type moves, in the crackdown on free speech. I mean, it has been all about Israel for everyone in our so-called government. No matter what they're talking about, they just glaze Israel. They're traveling to Israel. To what do you attribute this mass awakening and basically everybody on planet Earth now looking at Israel as a problem rather than a blessing?
I think it's just become so obvious now. Like, you'd have to be a complete and total moron or idiot or a Mossad bot, basically, to not recognize what's actually happening now. And they actually were pretty much forced to release some of those Epstein files. They still redacted most things, so you still don't know who was involved. But it talks about a lot of the stuff they do, which I've been exposing for a number of years, which is they're incredibly satanic. They're child rapists. They even eat children. So this is the people that actually run most of the world. And this is what a lot of people are just starting to get their head around. And you know, you even look at World War III here, that's kind of like Trump's kicked off. And what happened there? Well, his son-in-law told him that Iran was going to attack. Well, who's his son-in-law? Jared Kushner. If you look into him, he's one of the top prospects for the actual Antichrist himself. And so they went and they bombed and they blew up a bunch of little girls because they said they didn't want them to wear burqas, so they blew them up. You don't have to wear burqas in Iran, by the way. That's also lies. But yeah, there's basically this whole World War III thing is also a completely orchestrated event, in my opinion. I don't believe any of it about even Iran is on a different side than them. If you look at the Iranian parliament, it's a pyramid with 33 windows on it. So there you go. In Iran, they did all the COVID stuff. They went along with all the vaccine stuff. They're putting in the 5G and 6G, just the same as everywhere else. It's all controlled by the same people. So what we're seeing here is basically just another massive psychological operation, another massive event, same as 9/11, same as all the world wars, same as the Gulf of Tonkin event with the Vietnam War. All these things, they're all orchestrated by the same nefarious people. And on top of that, these people are... We also found out in the Epstein files just recently that Jeffrey Epstein said he had killed at least one person who had tried to recreate Tesla's free energy devices. And it was very clear that they did not want that to get out. And what's this whole war supposedly about, right? It's all about the oil. Well, we don't even need oil because Nikola Tesla already discovered how to actually have free energy devices. And those are coming out, by the way. But it was very interesting to see that in the Epstein files that even Jeffrey Epstein and the cult basically were trying to make sure this technology did not get out. And then, of course, we also know, like, this is insane, that Donald Trump and Donald Trump's uncle and the CIA were the first people to come in and steal Tesla's technology when they basically left them for dead in a hotel room in New York City, and they tried to keep it out of people's hands ever since then. So we know that they basically don't want this technology to get out. They don't want people to actually have access to what we should have had access to, which is what Tesla discovered, both for free energy and also for healing devices like the Tesla machine today.
So are you saying that inside of the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein actually admitted to killing somebody?
Yeah, there's a few emails that he talks about. There was this guy who created a free energy device. I believe his name was Pons. And there was another guy as well, and he was dead right after. And then Jeffrey Epstein the guy would die afterwards, and he'd respond, whoops. That was his code word that they basically took.
Yeah, another baby got raped. Whoops. Another baby got eaten. Whoops.
Yeah. And it's not like Jeffrey Epstein did it himself, but he's tied in with the Rothschilds. It says right in the documents that he's tied in with the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds started Israel, so they've started this whole problem since day one with Israel. It's a terrorist state. They're now attacking and blowing up so many places all across the world. They're basically demolishing Beirut, Lebanon right now, which is heinous. I've been to Beirut. It's a beautiful city, beautiful people, amazing place. Of course, they've been attacking and destroying most other places in the Middle East. Now they're doing Iran, which is basically an orchestrated event, in my opinion, just to basically...
So you don't think that Iran is legitimately putting up a fight against the satanic state of Israel?
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't believe anything I see. And it looks like almost all sides in all these wars are always controlled by the same people. And if they're not necessarily completely controlled, like, for example, we can give an example of the Mexican cartels, right? So I was there in Puerto Vallarta when they had this terror attack, and we quite quickly showed that it was actually directed energy weapons. That was actually Jake GTV who actually discovered that. and that it was mostly just a show. So some of the cartel people probably don't even know who controls them at the top. They just get their orders from a person at the top, and it's like, go burn down Port of Air today, and some of them do. It's the same with ISIS, same with Al-Qaeda. ISIS is controlled by Mossad, Al-Qaeda is controlled by the CIA. A lot of the people in those groups probably have no idea who's actually controlling them, but they actually control them and send them out. So I would not doubt, I'm not saying this for sure, but I would not doubt at all if a lot of what's happening in Iran is all orchestrated from the top, whether those people even know it or not. They might not even know that they're being controlled by certain people. That's how deep this goes. And I should also say that, of course, there is always the chance that someone breaks off from their control or someone fights back against their control. And I don't know if that's the case or not in Iran. I will say this, that what's going on in Iran with the killing of so many people, the destruction, like there's an acid rain in Tehran right now, a city of 10 million people. They blow up this massive oil refinery. It's absolutely heinous. Yeah, it's so evil. This whole thing is evil no matter what happens, no matter who's controlling it. But my point is, though, that all this stuff has been done for centuries, if not millennia, by the same group of people. And it's basically a satanic pedivore cult. And we actually all know that now. And what they're trying to do, and this is where the people need to wake up. They actually want to put you mostly into fear. So that's why they do all these things nonstop. The Port of Air thing, nonstop. They wanted people in fear. We weren't in fear. We didn't even care, really. They do the World War III stuff.
Jake GTV was at the beach. He was at his resort. He was, like in a cabana having a luncheon with his new señorita, watching people play tennis and, having a great time like nothing ever happened. He said that this was directed energy weapons. Were the cars?
Oh, you didn't see that?
Yeah. Did they? No, I didn't see that. Did they look similar to how they looked in Maui?
Yeah, exact same. So we didn't know this because I didn't actually go out and
investigate. Did blue things survive? Were the blue things left untouched?
I didn't see any blue things untouched, but it seemed it was really directed at the cars. And what Jake GTV showed was that the windshields were completely melted. And, what we were told about a lot of these fires is it was all Molotov cocktails that were thrown into these buses and cars.
Those don't get hot enough to melt glass.
Exactly.
Interesting. I had not seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's very obvious from where I sit, that our government, that our institutions of learning, of banking and finance, every institution that you look at is controlled by these people, and they do it very overtly. They do it by means of just directly paying through AIPAC, the Jewish lobby that's not required to register with FARA. They do that. They have these people compromised. They have compromat on high-ranking government officials and, big corporate executives, unelected bureaucrats who are making the decisions, heavy air quotes for our radio listeners, making the decisions that we all know are directed from Rothschild Boulevard by the likes of the private equity firms that you see, the Carlyle Group, State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock, Blackstone, Larry Fink, the World Economic Forum. All of these people originate, and all of the orders come from Rothschild Boulevard in Tel Aviv. So that's really obvious. You could see that control structure happening here. But in Iran, they don't operate under the auspices of a Rothschild-owned central bank.
Yeah, that's true. And that could be one of the things that they want to push in even more. And they're doing these things for that reason as well. There's all kinds of agendas involved.
We just saw that happen in Venezuela as well. I mean, they went and kidnapped the whole president and his wife in a Western nation, like a sovereign country in the Western hemisphere, and brought him back to the SDNY to face criminal prosecution in a civilian court. Haven't seen anything from him since then. I don't even know if he's still here, actually, honestly. Because they kicked off the war and everybody's on to the next thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's all a show. Maduro is a Sephardic Jew. He showed his Masonic hand signs in the one photo or art thing from the trial where he's charged with owning machine guns in Venezuela.
But didn't he say that Benjamin Netanyahu was a fake Jew and a crook from Poland? And then right after that, we went and kidnapped him and his wife and took over his country where Trump is now the interim president?
Yeah. It's hard to tell exactly which part's the World Wrestling Federation stuff and which part's real. But I lean towards it's mostly all staged, orchestrated.
It's all fake and gay. Yeah.
All of it. But the thing is that people need to realize is that what they want to do, you can see in the Epstein files, and they've done this with Bitcoin as well. We talked about this in the past about how they've been trying to hijack Bitcoin. They basically did. Because if that became a real currency that people on Earth used, it would get rid of the central banks. So now they're trying to take out Monero, obviously, because they've already basically hijacked Bitcoin. We've seen in the Epstein files that they're trying to keep Tesla's technology out of the hands of people. That's one of their top things that they try to do. And you've seen that every single person who creates a car that runs on water, they're pretty much dead like the next day. So they want to try to keep this out of people's hands. But here's the great thing. With the internet now, and with a lot of people who are waking up, this stuff is actually getting out for the first time. So this is super exciting. We're going to start seeing some of these free energy devices coming out soon. They're going to try to stop it as much as they can. And we've already seen that the Tesla plasma healing devices have already gotten out, and it's already worldwide. And like more than 1,000 people already have it. And it's growing massively. And so, you know, they're actually losing here. They're actually going to lose. This is their death throes of this system. They're going to go down in the next few years, but you're going to have to stay alive for it, because look at what they've done. They tried to kill everyone with the vaccine already, and that was Donald Trump, and everyone's forgotten about that. You notice no one talks about the COVIDs anymore? You notice nobody's even talking about the Epstein stuff anymore. And of course, no one's talking about what's happening in Gaza anymore, because they've got their news show in Iran. But they're going to be going down, but they're going to try to take a lot of people with them, not us, with them. They are, you know, we've seen that. Look at the chemtrails. And, you know, like, do you know how easy it would be? And I don't want to give them ideas, but I'm sure they already have these ideas to replace all the stuff in the chemtrail planes with something that just directly kills people very quickly and very easily. They're going to be doing stuff like that soon. I hate to, like, I'm not saying this to scare people. I think if you're smart, and really smart and really paying attention, you're detoxing all the time, which is super important, because that's how you get out a lot of the stuff that they're putting into you, including the nanotech, which they have into almost everybody. But you also have access to actual technology that can totally heal you and heal you from anything that those vaccines have already done, like myocarditis and stuff like that, blood clots. I just saw a woman today I have an iFit treadmill, and she was telling a story about what happened during the COVID years, and her husband wasn't feeling well, went to the hospital. They put him on a ventilator. They amputated his leg, and then they killed him a few months later, basically, is what happened. And I was just watching. I was like, man, there's so many people that if they knew, because what they said was he had a blood clot in his leg, and of course the system just totally killed him, because that's what the Rockefeller medicine system mostly does. But if he knew about it, if he had access to, of course, he wouldn't have a few years ago, but if he had a Tesla plasma healing machine, he would have just been totally fine very quickly. And so that's one of the things, actually, that people need to really wake up to here really quick, because who knows how fast they're going to move forward with this World War III type stuff. We're already seeing shipping lanes being shut down. They're probably going to do something that'll look like a nuke, even though nukes might not exist, but some sort of directed energy weapon sort of a thing, cut down on trade happening across the world. You know why they're doing this? Because this technology is getting out now. And so I would say to people out there, get this technology as soon as you can, if you can, because this is what they don't want you to have access to. And the more that people get it, the more that they're going to lose.
I mean, we're hearing amazing stories. I get testimonials every day. Of course, they're at tzla.club. People write emails to me. They send me DMs. They're in the chat. I'm joining the Tesla Club today. And then, like, they get their machine, and I'm starting to hear their stories right away. It's really actually a very cool thing, knowing that I'm a part of introducing this to people. And people look at me like I'm crazy. They do. You know, people who love this show rail on me for this, and they say there's just no way. I know how you feel, because I was there when I walked into your villa in Acapulco, and people were sitting down putting light bulbs on their head and all over their body. And I heard the sound, and I could smell the ozone, and I saw the plasma, and I'm looking at people, and they're all gathered around. And then you're like, Stu, are you going to try it? And I'm like, come on, man, what the fuck? Really? And kind of the same thing, Max Egan. Come on, man, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, all right. But, you know, Max himself, although be it he is still a skeptic, despite the fact that he has personally cured or gotten rid of or made disappear myocarditis and Bell's palsy. His nephew treated somebody with the, you know, the eye injury. We just had him on talking about that. So, I mean, still a skeptic. Willful ignorance, maybe, for Max Egan. I don't know.
He's not really a skeptic. You know what it is? He actually does not want to ever have himself tied to anything that actually is tied to money. He's got this like bad programming in his head. It's like this communist style programming. I know what it is. He thinks that back like thousands of years ago.
Well, people will look at you like you're a grifter. They'll call you a grifter.
Right.
They'll discount you. They'll write you off. They'll be like, oh, well, he's making money. So, fuck him.
Right. Yeah, so
I guess that's the attitude.
That's why Max never comes out and fully says, but Max knows, like he's been using it every day here at the ranch. He's actually staying with us again. He's been curing numerous people. He's actually going up to the US to go help cure someone of cancer right now with the machine. So he's definitely not a skeptic as far as like, a real skeptic, but he'll never come fully out and say that it's awesome because it costs money. And to Max, those two things are like money is not a good thing. And it's sort of like in his mindset. He kind of has a bit of bad programming in his head. That whole thing in the Bible that the love of money is the root of all evil. But, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil.
It's not the money itself.
Right.
Exactly. Right. You said something interesting earlier, and you were talking about Monero and Bitcoin, and now talking about the Tesla machine. There's something profound in all of that. And that is that, as humanity, as like real souls, real people, well-intended people with hearts of gold, with people who actually, recognize imminent threats and all the things that you're saying, by the way. I'm sure that the old you would be looking at the now you being like, you're fucking crazy because you're a pretty quick study. Not a lot gets by you. And I think that, like once this funnel is opened up, you just start getting all these downloads. And the Tesla machine, by the way, helps with the downloads as well. You see things a whole lot more clearly. But the profound thing is, it's kind of an epiphany, actually. We have every weapon that we need already at our disposal. We could completely destroy these people with the weapons, with the tools that we already have in our toolbox. It's all right here. Do you want to use them or do you not?
Absolutely. That's what I've been saying for a long time. I've been saying if we just all start using cryptocurrencies like Monero, we'd get rid of the central banks. They'd have so much less power. If people would wake up to this left-right democracy scam where you go into a closet every 4 years with a shower curtain and press a button for a blue donkey or a red elephant. I can't believe people still talk about it. Like, I'm going to vote. It's like, holy cow, don't say that in public. Like, are you like a complete idiot?
The next person that comes on this show and wants to talk politics, I feel sorry for them. They are going to get all of it. Politics is completely fake, totally rigged, totally gay. You're not voting your way out of this. There are no Republicans. There are no Democrats. There's no red, blue. There's no donkey elephant. There's no conservative. There's no liberal. There are good people and there are evil people. And, obviously, if all of those wedge issues were put aside, there's nobody in our country really, except for evil people, but there are no regular people in our country like real American citizens or in any country anywhere. Real Iranians, real Pakis, real Mexicans. There are none of us who would think that, I disagree with you so much that I just absolutely hate you and I want to fight you. There would just be no polarization. If these wedge issues that were intentionally placed here, that originated on Rothschild Boulevard, if they were gone suddenly, these people would have a big effing problem on their hands. I don't think that there would be anywhere safe for them to hide if everyone was able to just wake up from the programming, which is what I see happening right now. And I think that that is what we can attribute to, this massive escalation and violence and blowing up and the Greater Israel Project. And even with Trump and the tech native America and with Lindsey Graham talking about taking Cuba, taking Colombia, taking Mexico, taking Greenland. Greenland, I think JD Sharp is right on this one. That's where they want to put the data centers. If they put the data centers there, a lot of people won't be able to touch them. They won't be able to destroy them. So, other than Ronald Lauder, the president of the World Jewish Congress, who in a vulture capitalist acquisition forced the sale of a Greenlandic water company, and he wants to control all of the water there, the guy who I believe funded the Steele dossier and who's now a huge Trump, donor and supporter. Well, it's the same thing with Singer, Paul Singer, and Venezuela. He acquired Citgo under a, vulture capitalist type situation in a Delaware court presided over by an AIPAC judge who forced the sale of Citgo. and he has to control all of the oil. Well, so he wrote a check to Donald Trump, effectively renting American blood and treasure, renting the young men who serve in our military. Because believe me, Venezuela's not over yet. And although be it we are told that this was like a seamless operation where nobody got hurt or injured and that, special forces went in there, they used some kind of a weapon, an EMP, to just completely make everybody, unable to do anything. And then they kidnapped the president and his wife and got him out of there. Well, why aren't they doing the same thing in Iran? If it's that easy to go in there and affect a regime change and just make yourself the de facto leader of some country, then why aren't they doing that in Iran? Yeah, I mean, there's smoke and mirrors everywhere. All of this is fake and gay, but the tech native America, the Greater Israel Project, all of that is happening so quickly. And I think it's because people are realizing that we have these weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an exciting time. Like you said it right. Like we have everything we need to completely win. And I think we will win, by the way. But some people are not going to make it unless they really wake up to what's going on. If we just stop using their currency. Now, I get it. Like we all do. Like I do have some Mexican pesos here somewhere in my house and I use it to pay for some things, but I try not to. That's the thing, right? Less and less do I ever use their currency, because it's actually, the Rothschilds have known this with their Babylonian money magic stuff, that currency is very important. It's called currency for a reason. It's energy. So if people stop using their currency, and I know it's hard, right? And this is what people need to get their head around. It's like you might have to have some hardship for a bit of time, but do you want to actually live under a satanic pedovore sort of New World Order?
I think the obvious answer to that is no, nobody does.
Right. So
to the cryptocurrency point, people have been talking a lot about crypto, particularly Bitcoin, and saying, well, these people are able to manipulate that as well. Look at all the private equity funds that are dumped into, Bitcoin. So what's the strategy there, in your opinion?
Yeah. So, they hijacked Bitcoin. This is all in the Epstein files now. Roger Ver wrote a book about it. They put him in jail for it again.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was the World Economic Forum and those sort of people.
I would love to talk to Roger Ver, by the way. Roger, if you're watching the program, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I would love to have Roger Ver on.
I think he's been laying a little low lately. We were hoping he was going to speak at an Acapulco too, but I think after they put him in jail again, I think he's taken some time off from being on the front lines. But yeah, they basically hijacked Bitcoin. So what the actual real currency is that if everyone started using would change the world massively, like tomorrow, is Monero, because it's private. So there's no BlackRock. BlackRock doesn't have Monero. They actually try to squash it as much as they can. That's how you know it's a threat to the system. It's been delisted from almost every exchange on earth because the governments come in and say, if you list this, we're going to come in with guys with guns and shut you down because they know that's how dangerous it is to them. So that's one thing, right? So start using Monero. Very easy. Like if you don't know how, go look it up. Go figure it out, because this is how you're going to escape from this satanic pedivore New World Order.
Can you keep Monero in your wallet right alongside your J-Proof and your Bitcoin and all of the other great tokens that you have in there?
It depends what wallet you have. I believe Edge Wallet, which was actually one of the speakers at Acapulco, I think you can have them all in that particular wallet. But it's just a matter of figuring it out. What I would do, actually, and I don't like using AI for much, but it is very useful for some things. And if you're going to use it to actually destroy the system or escape from the system, it's worthwhile using it. Just go on AI and just ask it all your questions. Say, I live here. Here's what I have. How would I easily, or what would be the best way for me to switch over to using Monero for this or that? And AI will actually tell you, because they haven't actually figured out how to censor that stuff yet. They don't realize that's a problem yet, but that's one of the things, right? Is stop using their currency, stop giving them your money. Now, you legally in the U.S., unless you live in the District of Criminals, you don't actually legally have to pay taxes to the IRS. This is very well known. We had Christopher Gronsky speak at an Acapulco. He has his group, destinationfreedom.org. Go check it out. You file some paperwork, and you legally don't even have to pay taxes in the U.S. So stop giving them your money. Stop using their money. Then start actually getting access to real freeing technologies like the plasma healing technology. The medical industrial complex is a $1 trillion massive organization that mostly destroys people's lives, makes them sick and kills them and makes them broke. the more that people start using actual true plasma healing technology like they have at tzla.club, the more that it will take all that power away from them as well. So all those things. And then on top of that, the last thing is to make sure that you get yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually as good as possible. You're going to need that to get through this. We're not at the final battle yet. The final battle is still coming up. So you're going to have to be physically good. So if you're not physically good, get your diet good. You better be exercising every day. You better be doing saunas as much as you can to detox all your stuff out. And if you can get a Tesla machine, get one, because that will super massively make you superhuman. Then mentally, get your traumas out. You should be sitting there looking at your mind, getting your traumas out, because your mind will actually cause most of your problems in your life. And then spiritually, so actually connect with God. And you can do that. It's all inside of you. Jesus said this. They started all these churches to try to make it so you go somewhere. They bore you to death for like 4 hours. They ask for money. You give it to them.
They talk about how great Israel is. They talk about the Judeo-Christian relationship.
Yeah, and you give all your money to the pedophiles and they rape your kids there. It's all inside of you. They don't want you to know that. So just sit there and try to connect with God every day. And God's all around you. God is nature. God is everything. Go connect with the trees, all this sort of stuff. Now, if you do all those things, and these are all things I've done, I've actually done way more than all those things, you actually can break out of this matrix. So I'm actually basically speaking to a lot of people from outside the matrix. I'm not affected by most of these things. I can actually manifest whatever I want, basically, in the matrix, but I'm not actually part of the matrix anymore because I've done all this work. So they don't want people to know this. So I'm so glad there's like shows like yours, Stu, because no one's going to be talking about this on Alex Jones, and certainly no one's going to talk about this on CNN or any mainstream media. They're going to just show you all the fear and the war, and you better get out and vote and all that kind of stuff. All the answers are inside of every single person, and every single person controls their own destiny. And you can actually help basically make this world a million times better, because once one person changes, incredible things happen. It's almost miraculous to explain. It's almost difficult to explain. Even if one person watching this show right now makes those changes today, it will have massive effects.
They're not talking about it on Alex Jones yet. No, for sure. But, I would just be honest here and just say that, like a year or 2 years ago, we wouldn't have been talking about this either. So there's definitely something to be said about distancing yourself from the matrix and allowing yourself to see things that you wouldn't normally allow yourself to see. It's not that you could not see them. It's just that you would not allow yourself to receive that information because we've just been so programmed to live within the parameters of the matrix, whether it be socially, financially. No, you need more dollars, and what you do is you stack gold and silver your whole life, and you use your dad's financial advisor at Edward Jones or Thrivent, and you've got your 401k, and you've got your 2.2 kids and your fucking golden retriever and the white picket fence, and you're proud of America and its military prowess. We're going to put a boot in your ass. That's the American way. Don't fuck with us. We're Americans. We bleed red, white, and blue. And to a certain extent, I understand that. I think that nationalism and patriotism, I think that these things are inherently great. They are really great things. But if you allow yourself to get outside of the matrix, when I was at a hockey game the other day and they were singing the national anthem, it just doesn't hit like it used to. It's like, because I understand what the system is and how my country and its governing apparatus, which has always been fake and it's always been a weapon that's used against us, you just realize it's like nothing is as it seems and nothing is definitely as I thought it once was. So just allowing yourself to, open up your mind, allow yourself to just consider the idea that maybe I'm here talking about this thing every day because I have used it. It actually works. And aside from my shoulder, which was permanently healed after just one session at your villa over a year ago at Acapulco, aside from that, as I was sitting on stage and kind of talking on this panel about Tesla, I couldn't really think of anything to say. I was just kind of brought up at the last minute. Other than the fact that, I enjoy working out, which is something that I can only do because my shoulder has now been repaired after living 2 decades plus with a, debilitating shoulder injury. But I love working out. I love being in the gym. It's something that I did all the way through. Like, I started at 14 years old lifting heavy weights. Before that, it was like body weight stuff. I did it through high school. I did it in college. This is something that I did in my early 20s. And then I had to stop after the baseball injury. Well, working out is different now because although I love the burn, I love feeling, you know, like the next day, like, man, I can really tell I hit those traps last night. I can really tell that I hit those lats, you know, I mean, like I'm a good sore. I can feel that I just don't have that anymore. I never get sore. It doesn't matter if I work out. It's like, if it's max day, if it's high intensity, if it's low intensity with just stacked volume, like I'm just burning myself out till failure, I can find nothing that I can do in the gym that makes me sore anymore. So when you're talking about working out, guys, gym bros, people who are, you know, like paying attention to their physique, trying to get healthy, I would just say this. There are the 3 R's to working out. A lot of guys will know this. What is it? Resistance, repetition, recovery. And of those 3, resistance, repetition, recovery, the most important is the recovery, because your muscles will never grow if they're not healing themselves, which is exactly what you're doing, because you're creating muscle damage that then is being repaired, and that results in the growth of the muscle. It happens a lot quicker if you're using the Tesla machine daily. I can just say that. So among the shoulder injury and that, you know, the enhanced recovery, me personally, I don't have anything that, at least that I know of, that's like imminently life-threatening, imminent doom and gloom. You know, I don't have any of that. But there are people that do or did and no longer do because of this. And Dr. Anna Mihalcha, who I highly respect, I mean, she's a real one. And, you know, I mean, like she shows live thermal blood imaging of like before Tesla and after Tesla, before the plasma technology and after the plasma technology. She shows it in real time. My biological age on a machine hooked up to a bunch of things, that can't lie. That's not subjective. It's not a human being making that machine do what it did. And I was 44 biological age before the Tesla machine. And I was in my 20s after. I don't remember the exact age, but it was like 20 something afterwards. And that's how I feel. I feel more cognitively present. I feel, you know, like Superman in the gym. And then I never get tired. I have energy for my kids. I'm faster, more explosive, stronger, quicker in every way. So that's my experience. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's like talking to a brick wall sometimes, you know, because you know that it sounds crazy because you were there not long ago. All of this shit sounded crazy to me a year or 2 years ago. So I don't know. Maybe Alex Jones will be talking about the Tesla technology in a year from now or 2 years from now. Because that's what these people love to do. When I go out on a limb and I go out and say something like we are imminently going to war with Iran, you'll have him, well, there's absolutely no way, Boswell. Trump's never going to do that. There's no way Trump is going to do that for Israel. I love Israel. I'd go there in a second. I would love the falafel. I'll kiss the wall. But Stew Peters, he'd probably, you know, expose me or something. I don't know. But that's what they do. And then when it happens, they're like, I knew it all along. I was right the whole time. Yeah, I knew imminently we were going to war with Iran, but it's not Trump's fault. It's not Trump. 37,000 times in the Epstein file. That exonerates him. That annoys me. When we are willing to put our name and our face out there and go right at this stuff and take all of the arrows that come from the detractors that will say that you're a shill and a grifter and that all of this is weird and bizarre and fake, just try it. Find yourself a friend that has a Tesla machine, and I guarantee you soon you will be in the private membership association Tesla Club. All right, Jeff Berwick, I got a minute left. Final words.
Yeah, I'll say that for me, I've been getting back in the gym myself after Narcopoco, and it's been so awesome. I feel like I'm actually on steroids because I actually like been on the Tesla heavy and in the gym and got my diet good, and I'm seriously.
That's how it feels.
Yeah, it's and like no muscle soreness, not too much. Actually, I have a little bit, but hardly anything with the Tesla. So it recovers super fast. It's almost like steroids, basically. So yeah, it's incredible. I also de-aged, as you know, by I'm 55. I have the tissue age of a 30-year-old, the energy in my cells of a 10-year-old, and that's from a quantum biofeedback machine, a very serious, expensive machine. So
yeah, anyway, that's the machine that we were talking about. Yeah. All right, there he is, the Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Berwick. Where can people find more of your stuff if they've never, like seen your show? Where do people go find Jeff Berwick?
We're pretty shadow banned everywhere, but you can go to dollarvigilante.com for our financial newsletter, which is super important right now because with everything going on, we're actually making fortunes with the oil trade and all that kind of stuff. So go to dollarvigilante.com. If you want to see our videos, I walk my dogs, vigilante.tv. I'm on X, but super shadow banned at Berwick Jeff, I believe. And that's about it. I'm actually banned from most other sites for, you know, all this crazy stuff I'm talking about, right?
I know the feeling. From Canada and Mexico to now this like awakening, you're totally J-pilled, you're red-pilled, you're Tesla-pilled, all the things. All right, Jeff Berwick, there he is. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have him back again. It's always a great conversation. That's a guy that I could sit down with and probably burn like 10 cigars. I could sit down with that guy all day long. Jeff Berwick, go check him out. dollarvigilante.com, vigilante.tv. You can find him on X. He believes that it's at Berwick Jeff. And I'm sure that when you find him on X, all of the links to all of the other things are there. As far as the Tesla technology is concerned, tzla.club, tzla.club. There are imposter sites out there. And I learned this actually firsthand because I was telling somebody about it. And actually it was Carlos Cortez. I was telling about the Tesla technology. And he's like, I need that. What's the website? And I told him it's tzla.club. There's a fake one out there. tzla.club. tzla.club if you want the real legit information on this thing, to hear more testimonials, to see videos, to show like microscopic thermal blood imaging, all these other things are there. tzla.club, tzla.club. More of the Stew Peters Show continues next.